Hey, all you Jedi Knights and Sith Lords out there! Happy 25th anniversary to Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace, directed by George Lucas, the maker, the creator himself, yes. And I just wanted to make a little video about what it was like back then on May 19th, 1999, seeing the movie on its opening day, talk about the reactions at the time, because pop culture made it seem like everyone hated the movie, but nobody hated the movie. Well, not nobody, but a lot of people liked it. A lot of critics liked it. I'm going to get into that very briefly here as well. Just because, a couple of people in their 20s have asked me recently, hey, Neil, what was it like back in 1999, all the way back then, And I say, well, it was a dark time. No, it was fine. And so I'll respond to that too, and I'll send you guys the video since you wanted to know. Anyway, yeah, so May 19th, 1999. It was a tough year for me, honestly. I was living with my girlfriend. That didn't work out. And then, my buddy Greg and I, of course, were talking about going to see The Phantom Menace all year. He was living in Oakville at the time, so we wound up seeing it in Oakville, along with our buddy Scott as well, and I think some parents and some other relatives, and it was a packed theater. We were pleasantly surprised by how easy it was to get tickets to the first showing there, or 7 o'clock or whatever it was, just in suburbia Oakville. There's not much in Oakville. It's basically a golf town or a college town. It's, there's not that much to do there, except see The Phantom Menace on opening night. So it was a good call, seeing it at that theater rather than a bigger theater that would likely sell out quicker. So we went to see this movie, and we were blown away by the opening crawl, right? I mean, as soon as the Star Wars comes on the screen, everyone's like, yeah, and it was wonderful experience. And by the end of the film, you know, hearing people talk about it, especially my friends, of course, everyone seemed to be satisfied. They were like, "That was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was a little bit long. There were parts that could be cut out. Too much Jar Jar for sure. But the movie was pretty good. I was actually fascinated by the politics of Coruscant. I understand if little kids don't give a damn about that, but the pod race and especially the last 20 minutes were fantastic. It was like a wonderful bookend for that, multiple battle scenes and stuff going on at the end of Phantom Menace, and to bookend that with Return of the Jedi's multiple battle scenes, at the end of that film as well. I think that was wonderful. It was a great idea. So yeah, I enjoyed the film quite a bit. On the way home, we were listening to the radio in the car, and one guy was like, "Man, the pod race and the lightsaber battles were awesome. I was so happy with this new Star Wars." And it was like, "Oh, right, great, okay." Like, so apparently people love this Star Wars movie. Yay, great. It was just one opinion, and then the next opinion kind of made us laugh. There was some girl, and she was talking about, "Oh, there's this annoying fish guy in the movie, and he ruined the movie for me." And I'm just like, "Oh man, like, yes, I agree. There's too much of Jar Jar Binks in the film." Ahmed Best did a great job with the role. I thought he was fantastic. He was very convincing. The technology was wonderful. He looks great. But I get it. I get it. The voice can be, kind of a bit abrasive on people's ears. And, they've got him, like, getting his face caught in binders or stepping in poop or smelling farts. And it's just things like that are just pandering to little kids. And I didn't like that about The Phantom Menace. That was my kind of, the cons to the pros there. But some people just took off with the whole Jar Jar thing. And it goes to show that Jar Jar was way too big of a distraction at the time, and it was a negative thing. Even though the box office numbers were blown up, and it was like a huge movie. It did incredibly well financially, of course. But people just couldn't stop talking about friggin' Jar Jar. They would just hang on to him. George Lucas was maybe hoping he was going to be like the next kind of Chewbacca or the next kind of lovable character, but unfortunately he speaks English. Several of the characters in the movie that are aliens speak English, and you kind of wish they were subtitled. It might have been a bit cooler for me, but that's just my opinion. Like, I really love Sebulba because he didn't speak English. He spoke I guess it was Huttese or whatever, but whatever he spoke, really cool character, Sebulba. So I'm a Sebulba fan, and I'm a big fan of Darth Maul and Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson and so on. So, again, I'm defending the movie. I'm defending it. I've been defending it for 25 years. But there just isn't that much wrong with the film. Pop culture made it kind of seem that way. The Simpsons made fun of it, even though that was a Fox production as well. But they made fun of it because they knew people were making fun of it. They knew it was hip to make fun of the Phantom Menace. Too much Jar Jar. And Simon Pegg made fun of it on his show that he had at the time. And he's, "Oh, it ruined my childhood." And And then, when the internet was getting big and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you started getting on chat forums and stuff, like, 411 Mania or whatever they were back then, all these Star Wars chat forums and stuff, you would see nothing but complaints about Jar Jar, like, all day long, and then complaints about little Anakin. Oh, they're picking on poor Jake Lloyd, this 8-year-old actor or whatever. Poor guy, certainly doesn't deserve any of that after landing a dream job, as the young Anakin Skywalker. But that's what happens, people just can't help themselves. They gotta troll, they gotta rag on stuff that they don't like. The problem is the people that go, "Oh, I ruined my childhood," or they think Jar Jar ruins the whole movie, or just stupid stuff. And I hate that stupid stuff. It's just like, take, the positive stuff there, glass half full, and look at the good stuff in this movie, and then compare it to newer Star Wars movies. Because the prequels, wow, the prequels are much better than the sequels, but that's just my opinion, I guess. I don't know. So opinions were a bit weird back then. It seemed like everyone hated the Phantom Menace, and it was cool to hate it, but it really wasn't that hated. A lot of people liked it. I had a lot of friends that said, I like Jar Jar, and I like the Phantom Menace. I didn't like this scene or that scene or whatever, but I liked most of the movie, and that's my opinion too. I was like, hey man, this is a 4 out of 5 star movie. I don't understand the problem other than, it needed some editing. So yeah, today the perception seems to be a lot more positive on the movie. So glad to hear a lot of people going to the theater for the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace and enjoying that. It's a lot of people's childhoods now, which is crazy to me, kind of. But that's time, can't stop time. But a lot of children have grown up with this movie as one of their favorite things, and it's a very special childhood memory to them, just like Return of the Jedi was to me when I went and saw it in May of 1983. So yeah. To each his own, right? But anyway, The Phantom Menace will never be the worst Star Wars movie. It'll always have its moments for sure, and some really, really good ones. Some fine performances in that movie too. It's a little underrated in the acting department, I think, because it's Star Wars and Star Wars dialogue, which can be clunky, very difficult to deliver, as Mark Hamill will tell you. But anyway, all right, that's it for this video. I guess I'm going on too long about it. I'm just really glad that people enjoy the movie a lot more today in 2024. And thanks for listening to me ramble on about this 25th anniversary, memory. All right, thanks guys, and until next time, may the Force be with you all.